Once you've taken care of step one in the leasing process, which is finding the general area that you want to be and understanding the size of the space that you need, once you figure that out, the next step is a two-part process, which is crunching some numbers and also determining the functionality of the space. And so when I say crunching numbers on the space, it's really to determine whether it's affordable for your business or not. So you have a few things to think about. And one of those is the main thing is going to be base rent. So that's the rent that you're paying for the space at its base. And then on top of that is something that is called triple net fees. And so that's taxes, property taxes, insurance, and CAM. And CAM is common area maintenance fees. And so those are things that the landlord is basically passing on to you as a tenant that you have to pay for, and they fluctuate. For example, property taxes can change year over year. Same thing with insurance. Common area maintenance is for things like parking lot maintenance, parking lot lighting, exterior lighting on the building, if there's security in place, landscaping. So all of those things that if you're in a retail center or an office complex, everyone shares those common area expenses, and you typically contribute your pro rata share to that amount. So we take the base rent, we add on the triple net fees, and that gives you a dollar amount per square foot that you pay for your lease. And then your utilities and your internet and your trash, different things like that. That's something that usually you have to set up on your own, and you're responsible for paying for that as well. So once we figure out what all those numbers are, we add them up. We see if we're in the ballpark. And if we're in the ballpark, we try to negotiate and then see what sort of term that the landlord is looking for as well. It could be a minimum amount of years. So sometimes that's minimum 3 year for newer space. Usually it's going to be a minimum of 5 years, sometimes 7, sometimes 10. It depends on how nice the space is. It depends on your area. It depends on if you as the tenant are contributing to finishing that space. So, if you need a kitchen installed, most of the time you're going to have to install all of that kitchen equipment. Or if you have a retail space and you need a specific type of display or counter service, things like that, those are things that you as a tenant are going to need to contribute. And the landlord may negotiate with you on that. Those tenant improvements, might negotiate on the base rent. Typically there is no negotiation on triple net fees because they just are what they are. And so once you determine whether it's affordable, once you determine whether you can negotiate something that is affordable to you, you still got to figure out, does the space function for you? If you need a drive-through window, does it have one? If you need dedicated parking, does it have dedicated parking? Is it a first floor space or is it a second floor space? Do you need an elevator or are stairs okay? So it's all those functionality things that you've got to evaluate that are on top of the location, the size, the rental rate, and the functionality of the space. So that kind of takes care of step 1 and step 2. Step 3 is when you start to get into the details of the lease, and we'll save that for another time. If you want to find out more about me and my company, Cardinal Real Estate Advisors, please visit us on the web at cardinalrealestateadvisors.com.